Well, in preparation for this weekend, I decided to watch Candyman 1992. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up? My name is Nelson, and today I am talking about Candyman 1992. First off, the acting in this movie is great. Tony Todd as Candyman. Just hearing that voice is just so sinister and chilling. He's got this amazing voice, and it was just perfect, and just it's just like the facial expressions he has, and just his whole performance as Candyman is just amazing. Virginia Madison as Helen is really good in this too. I love how determined she is throughout this movie. I really love how she played that character, and she is just such a determined person in this movie. And they're trying to get that thesis done, and she would do anything to get it done, and she just is fearless in this movie. I mean, you got all these people telling her, Candyman's real, and she just doesn't care. But yeah, definitely fearless. And Bernadette, played by Casey Lemons, being the best friend in the movie, she kills it. Virginia Madison and Casey Lemons, they have great chemistry in this movie. I loved all their interactions together, really. And Vanessa Williams, hats off to her for this performance. She isn't in this movie a whole lot, but when she's on screen, she's, aside from Tony Todd as Candyman, because I love him as Candyman, Vanessa Williams playing Anne, she just, for me, gave probably the best performance in this film aside from Tony Todd. Just her being this loving mother that just doesn't want anything to happen to her child, and I just feel like she played that character so well. And when the baby does get taken and she's not sure if he's alive or not, she just her emotions and all that is just amazing. And when they show up to the apartment buildings where the murder happened, because they're doing the two main girls, the two main leads of the movie are doing their thesis on urban legends. And when they show up to the apartment buildings where this girl got killed, she brings a camera with her, like a disposable old camera, and she starts taking these pictures, and you flash, and you see it lights up the entire screen. And I really thought that was cool. And then she goes through the medicine cabinet, because you pop off the medicine cabinet and there's a hole going into the other apartment. Well, so she goes through the medicine cabinet, and Bernadette, she's all scared, and we need to get out of here and all that, and she goes in there, and you see all the graffiti all over the walls, and then you see she goes through this hole, and you see the painting of Candyman, and it is just so chilling. And then there's a little boy in the movie, and she starts asking him questions, and he's telling her, Candyman's real, and he tells her this whole story about this boy who needed to go to the bathroom, and his mom was at a store across the street, and she tells him, just go across the street and go to the bathroom. It was just such a chilling story. Just a little boy's voice and everything. He killed it with his voice. It was one of the scariest parts of the whole movie, is him just telling that story about what happened to that little boy. And he's just like, and Candyman did it. And it's very well done. But she gets attacked in the bathroom when she goes into the bathroom, she gets attacked, and she gets beat up by these guys for whatever reason, and she's talking the next day. She's talking to Bernadette. Helen's talking to Bernadette, and she's like, it makes me mad that, you know, all these people are getting killed every day in that part of the city, and one white girl gets beat up, and they shut the whole place down. And back in 1992, I feel like that took a lot of balls to do that. To touch on something like that. That's very real and very serious situation. I felt like that probably took a lot of guts back in 1992. And I feel like it's done very tastefully. And I love the setting of this movie too. You know, all these movies, they're either set in, you know, these type of movies at this time, you know, with a killer and all that, like Friday the 13th and like Halloween and all that. Like, Halloween is always set in a suburban town, and Friday the 13th is always set like in the woods in a camp. And there's all there. It's either a suburban town or a wood or in the woods. You know, it seems like all these horror films at this time were set in at that. And I love how it's set kind of in like the projects of Chicago. It's very different, and I feel like it was really, really well done. And like Candyman as a killer, like the difference between Candyman as a killer is there is a reason he's doing something. He's doing this for a reason, and it seems like with, you know, other killers like Jason and Michael Myers and all that, it seems like they you know, Jason, he's just mowing people down, and Michael's just mowing people down. I mean, they have their little reasons, you know, like Michael was always trying to kill, you know, Laurie and all that, and Jason, he's, you know, his mom, you know, he thinks everyone's a counselor and all that, but it's just, I feel like the reasoning for Candyman, and Candyman's reasoning is a little bit better in my opinion. I feel like he's really, really smart too, and the way he kills, it's just so chilling, and it's just like you don't you don't see him kill a whole lot in this movie, but like the couple times you do see it, it is so brutal and just so chilling, very, very well done. But she when she gets back home from the hospital and all that after she gets beat up, and there is a scene where she's looking through all of the pictures that she had taken through the apartment, and she's flashing through all of them, and she gets a little bit further into the pictures, and she starts to see the silhouette of Candyman. I thought that was really, really cool. It's scary, and like what Candyman can do too. Like, he can appear anywhere and make you think anything and make it look like, you know, through the entire movie, he makes it look like Helen was the one that's doing all of this stuff. And, like, he can just make you appear anywhere and make a person just do anything. And what he can do is just amazing. It is so cool. When Bernadette dies, I really feel like her reaction wasn't very amazing in my opinion. I was just like I feel like she should have screamed, because it's her best friend. That's the only little nitpick for her character I had. I was just like, why? Obviously it looks like you did it, you know, like, but there's a scene where Candyman takes her and he kills the woman's dog, Anne's dog, and takes the boy. There's just blood everywhere, and the dog's head got cut off. The dog's head's cut off, and Helen wakes up in just a pool of blood all over her, and she's got a knife in her hand, and she has no idea how she got there. And she walks in the room, and Anne just starts screaming at her and telling her, you know, what did you do with my baby? What did you do with my baby? Oh my God, that scene is just so scary and just so chilling to me. I was just like, ooh, just seeing the dog's head. But the practical effects in this movie are amazing. They really did it really. They really did it well. They used no CGI throughout this movie that I could tell. And if they did, it was very small and I didn't notice. But just the practical effects, it just looks so scary. It reminded me a lot of Sam Raimi's Evil Dead from back a little further before this movie. It reminded me a lot of those practical effects, and I really respect them using practical effects. I hope in the new one that they use as much practical effects as they possibly can. But Candyman, he just keeps making them think that Helen is the one that's doing all of it. And I thought that was a really cool storyline throughout. This whole storyline is just amazing in my opinion. It is just, the more and more I watch this movie, the more and more I appreciate the storyline of this movie. And it's just, there isn't a whole lot of films today there's not a whole lot of horror films today that you can make so compelling like this one is. The way Candyman kills though, like I already talked about this, but the way Candyman kills is just it's so brutal. I mean, yeah, all the other killers are very brutal, but this is it just makes you feel like, oh, like it's so messed up. When Helen gets put in a psych ward for because they think she's killing all these people, and she sneaks out and she ends up going back to her house. And earlier in the movie, she has slight suspicion that her husband might be cheating on her with one of his students. Her husband is a professor at a college. And she thinks, she kind of says something a little bit about it, but she sees him with her, and she's supposed to be in the psych ward, and just how scared they were when she shows up because they think that she's killing all these people. And it was just one of my favorite scenes of the entire movie. And towards the end of the movie, we get to the end of the movie, and Candyman opens up he's got Helen with him, and he picks her up and he sets her on a table, and he opens up his coat, and you can see his ribs and how he's got all the bees inside his ribs and all that. And he opens up his mouth. I don't know how they did that scene. I was just like, it looks so real to me. I just don't know how they could have done that scene unless they actually put bees in Tony Todd's mouth, which that would be crazy. But they might have just made little bees and all that, and just, I don't know. But it looked like they were all moving. It's so weird. And it's just so disgusting and so creepy. And I was just like, man, how could they have done that? I don't know how they could have done that. It's just, that's the only thing I was like, how could they have done that? Like, I would love to know. I'd love to figure that out, how they could have possibly done that scene. She ends up going back to where that girl was killed, and to where the baby was taken, the apartment buildings and all that. And there's this huge, they were planning on having a huge bonfire. And there's just all these chairs and all this wooden stuff all piled up in this humongous, 15 feet tall mound that they want to burn. And she hears a baby crying, which the whole entire time Candyman took the baby. He didn't kill that baby, he took it. And she hears the baby crying. And she starts crawling through all of the junk, and she has she has the hook, like Candyman's hook. And she's using it to get all the stuff out of the way so she could get to the baby. And she's hearing the baby crying, and she's trying to get through. The little boy sees the hook. Doesn't see her, just the hook, and he says, Candyman's here. And he picks up a can of gas and starts pouring it all over. But the baby and Helen are both in there. And he sets it on fire, and she grabs the baby. And then Candyman grabs her, and he's holding her while the whole thing's burning. And she's just trying to get out. And she ends up taking a piece of wood that was on fire and just sticking it into Candyman. And he's like screaming and telling her to come back, and she's starting to crawl away. And she starts to catch on fire. But she ends up getting out of the pile, and all her hair gets burned off. And it looks so realistic, all the burns on her and everything. And she has the baby, and the baby's fine. And she hands the baby back to the mother. The mother just looks like she's a mess now because she lost her baby. She just looks like a mess, and she just hands her the baby. It's just such a beautiful, beautiful scene in my opinion. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about this because I'm really, really excited for Candyman this Friday. I just really wanted to rewatch this and, you know, just talk about this movie. This movie is just, it is hands down one of the best movies, best horror films of that era. And like I said, the more and more I watch this, the better it gets. And, you know, this weekend, Nia DaCosta has huge shoes to fill for this movie, but I really feel like with the trailers and everything, I really do feel like this movie is going to be really, really good, and I got high expectations for it, but I really feel like it's going to deliver. But if you like what I'm doing on this channel, like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at Nelson Reviews. Follow me on Letterboxd at Nelson48. Peace out.